I grew up in Taiyuan City in the province of Shanxi, the People's Republic of China. So, Taiyuan is the capital and largest city of the province. It's approximately 6,959 kilometers squares, with a population of 4.2 million as of 2010. It is the leading manufacturing base of China. So, this is the place I spent half of my childhood. The other half was in Jilin and Beijing. So, the Taiyuan city has dense population. So, my neighborhood was always full of people and children around my age. Therefore, as a child, that was the best environment I could ever ask. So the climate was cool because of the forests surrounding the city, except in the summer when it could get a little hot. So Taiyuan City has gone through an evolution in terms of air pollution. So there was a time in the 1990s when it was among the most polluted cities globally. However, the improvements have been made, and at the moment, it's so much better as it was before. So mostly, it was my siblings and all of my buddies with whom we shared a school. So most of them lived around my house, so we used to interact either in school or at home. So I was only allowed to move with the area we stayed in. Being a large city, like no parents would want their kids to roam around in the city freely still. But when we went out as a family to go shopping or take a nature tour, we moved around using bus, trains, or taxi, depending on where we're going and how fast we need to arrive our destination. So what was more sustainable in Taiwan was the business. There were so many activities going on in the cities, and the fact that it was the biggest manufacturing base. So however, the environment was unsustainable due to too much air pollution, although it's a work in progress. My most ideal city would be a nature-friendly kind of city. So the planning of the city would be made so that air and the noise pollution is the least of people's worries. The street would have a walking and cycling side path all covered in trees. There would be all types of the modes of transport, but at the designated place. So the planning would be encourage cycling to work or shopping center, since they will not be far from where people live, and there will be no short distance bus, only taxis. So there would be well maintained parks with the city, such as the green will be the theme of the city. So the congestions will be limited by separating the social amenities to serve people faster and smoothly. So the people will move around mainly in bicycles or the taxi with the town, and use bus, trains, or airplanes to move out of the city. Depending on the city's size, trains and bus will be used to ferry people from one corner to another if the distance is beyond cycling and too expensive for a taxi. So people from all walks of life will live in the city because the city will be a global destination for tourists. The desired place to study for local and international students, and a sports center and the interactions would interact in schools, sports, and cities as they go about their business. So, as a tourist, the built environment has green as a theme long before the population increased in the city. It was covered by green forests and animals. So the human settlements reduced some of that. Therefore, going by my plan, I would be taking back the city just like how it was long before modern settlements. So the plan of city is designated like in an environmentally friendly way. So planting of trees along the road and the building of parks make the city go green. And the how can I say, elimination of too much traffic and pushing the modes of the transport away from the parks makes the environment safer for the animals. And economically, the city will be saving a lot in terms of time efficiently. So no time is wasted on traffic and people will arrive at their workplace in a good time. So the residential areas is separated from the business areas, makes the city very organized. It is possible to attain sustainability. I grew up in a balanced environment. Though there was a bit of air pollution, since Taiyuan City was an industrial city. So that effect made me have a mixed reaction to my neighborhood. I once visited my grandmother in the lower parts of the Taiyuan, and I was impressed by the environment there. So it was a serene, I would say it was a serene environment away from the automobiles, noise, and the fewer people to interact with. So that brief experience gave me an idea of what I want for myself and my family. So setting down a place away from a busy town would be perfect. So a home safe enough to move around and enjoy the environments. So without like feeling suffocated by the polluted air or loud noise from the plants or bus or manufacturing plants, whatever, the stuff like that. So in the future, I want my children to embrace such like environments that will be academically friendly. So in this environment, like one can read a book like without getting distracted by the city dwellers' activities. So while my environment will be out of town, I will ensure that the children meet their friends and have as much fun as I have grown up, but with improved safety. So the sustainability for me is the ability to live constantly with our environment or improve it so that the future generation will benefit from it. So just like we have, or even better. So to conserve the environment is not a mean feat. So it requires the efforts from everyone and the government. I mean, the human behavior is an essential output if we are to have a sustainable environment. So the zeal in which we put to have a sustainable family or economy is the same. It's the same thing. Yeah. So, which we are supposed to showcase regarding the environmental conservation, right?